My name is Rick Burnett, and I'm the CEO of LaneAxis. We're focused on the transportation sector. I'd like to start off with just a quick video.
Just about every industry has gone to a direct model. Banking, the stock market, the entire travel industry, and of course, retail. Now it's trucking's turn to go direct. LaneAxis Virtual Freight Management is building a blockchain platform that connects shippers directly to trucking companies, bypassing costly and often inefficient freight brokers, third-party logistics companies, 3PLs, and freight forwarders, all of whom charge up to a 30% fee for their services. Powered by smart contracts residing on the blockchain's immutable ledger, shippers and carriers can now directly enter into self-executing contracts that track every milepost in a shipment's journey. Imagine GPS-enabled real-time tracking, proof of pickup, load matching and route optimization, chain of custody of freight, driver performance ratings, geofence entry and exit notifications, proof of delivery, instant payments, and much more, all powered and protected by the LaneAxis blockchain's immutable ledger. Axis tokens give shippers and carriers individual API access to this vault of information and business intelligence. Transportation and logistics spending will reach $15 trillion by 2023. As the blockchain continues to transform businesses and industries across the globe, LaneAxis will boldly lead trucking and logistics into this exciting new digital age. Visit LaneAxis.io to join the transportation blockchain revolution.
So transportation in the U.S. is an $800 billion industry. It's growing to $15 trillion in the next 5 years. It's a massive industry that's equated into a lot of different labor processes. Phoning, faxing, it's a very inefficient model. And a lot of people don't realize that because when you order something and you get an email and you get a tracking, you know the package is going to be delivered at this particular time. And most people know that UPS or Walmart or FedEx, they have tracking on their trucks. And just everybody perceptually, even like Uber, thinks that everything is tracked. The issue is that when you go outside the network, it's not tracked. The U.S. has 700,000 trucking companies. 97% of that industry is smaller independent. It represents over 3 million drivers. 92% of that industry is the smaller independent guys that are moving these loads on a day-to-day basis. So when these companies have to go outside their network, they lose that visibility. They lose that connection into where that is. If the driver doesn't answer the phone, they have no idea where he is to pick that load up, when he's going to be there. So this process is entrenched into all these major different companies. There's 350,000 shipper manufacturers in the U.S. As I mentioned, companies like a Walmart, a FedEx, a UPS. In my background, I ran some peak season for UPS, did white glove services for FedEx. When they go to those outside carrier networks, it is a labor process, and it's still run today by an 800 number, check calls, letting them know whether the load has arrived or departed. And so what we're trying to do is bring that direct connectivity into this massive industry. It's around $800 billion of an industry, and this model has happened not only in the transportation industry where we take it, but you look at the banking industry. You can take a picture of a check and automatically deposit the check into the bank account. Airline industry, most people book their airline online. You don't have to call a travel agent anymore in order to book your tickets. You can go direct. So this model of a direct connection is going to move forward into the transportation industry. So 4 years ago, we started filing patents around this direct connectivity. From the inexperience of being from the industry and knowing the massive cost that a broker load takes out of from the shipper from a cost perspective and the carrier from a rate perspective, we started filing patents. In March of this year, we were issued the patent. The patent's actually a shipper carrier optimization platform. It allows that direct connectivity all the way down to the driver level. So we We push that information so there's no longer a need for a broker or a 3PL to move this. So how do we do it? So we're here because we're moving our process into the blockchain. We want to be able to make that connection immediate at the time of the need. Because there's 1 million trucks that move up and down the road empty in the US every day, there's no visibility into this network. So you have to have a trusted third-party source that can take the onus of this responsibility. We're going to push that to the blockchain. We're going to take the shipper contract, push it to the blockchain. We're going to take the insurance verification from the carrier and push it to the blockchain. We're going to tie into an API of the DOT, the Department of Transportation, to verify all the 700,000 trucking companies that's in the network that it's still active, because we know that sometimes they get restricted for various different compliance issues. Then we'll tie into an API of the commercial driver license of the individual driver. That will give the ability for a shipper and a carrier directly connect to each other, immediately. Then at the load level, we have a working app. Our mobile app then ties into that, so the load manifest assigned to the carrier is then pushed down to the driver. We can now start getting an ETA prior to load pickup into that black hole, that network of the smaller independent that doesn't exist today. We can push that to the industry. In that real-time information, the blockchain geofence will be stored so that we know his arrival time. The documentation is confirmed inside the blockchain. In-transit exception management, so if he has a breakdown, he has an accident, we know the points of that. We can capture that accident for insurance information and proof. We can also then send recovery of that load to the exact location, if that's a time-sensitive load, in order for it to get to its destination. Everything goes smooth. He gets to the end. He breaches the geofence. We get the signed proof of delivery inside the geofence, so that chain of custody is now stored in the blockchain, and we can start implementing what is the industry's first carrier performance metrics. We can give you statistics of that smaller independent network's performance, on-time delivery of the pickup and the delivery. So those measurements and those metrics in the industry do not exist today. There's EDI, and that's a data entry from somebody that's sitting back in an office and say the guy actually got there at 10 o'clock. There's no verifications of that. So we want to start pushing that capability into the network. This is on the load level, and this is the benefits of the blockchain. The blockchain will be a trusted source into a massive industry that, quite frankly, doesn't exist today. So we can take this platform that we have a patent on in the US that we just got issued in March. There's hundreds of companies that are probably in violation of this patent because, as you know, the technology has moved forward massively as far as this kind of capability in the last couple of years. Our patent was actually published in the June of 2016. So that's an avenue that our legal side is going to pursue. We're looking to move efficiency into the marketplace. And as we take this process in the US, we can apply this on a global scale. So we were in Shanghai a couple weeks ago, actually talked to the Chinese government over there. They're looking at the same type of process to where we could push the manifest down to the driver level. We can put a geocoded location at the ship. They know that load from a custom aspect is on that ship. Put a geofence at the arrival time so you know the verification of that documentation has arrived. It's assigned to the carrier, tracked. Let's say it's delivered in Chicago. So now you have that chain of custody of the original manifest all the way back to, say, Beijing. So how do we do it? Because with over 3 million drivers, we need to know where they're at. So part of our token sale, what we want to do is we want to build that network. The reason that it's so inefficient is the carrier doesn't know where the shipper is, and the shipper doesn't know where the carrier into that 97%, that true marketplace. So we're going to build a trucker community app, a social component app to where there's benefits of these individual drivers. Compliance is there's only 11 hours in a 24-hour period that a driver can actually drive. So he has a lot of downtime. So we're going to start giving them personal benefits for using our social app, which will be free, and then we'll drive that location base. As we drive that location base, now we can start pushing them direct shipments from shippers. Whenever they see value of it, they can immediately connect. So we'll start to drive that inefficiency that exists and that need of today that depends on a broker or a third-party logistics company in order for the transaction to happen. So we're here today. We have a booth at 200. We'd love to stop by, answer any questions. We're doing a token sale in order to raise the capital to build the community side. We want to also to push all this functionality, not only on the blockchain on the domestic US side, but on a global side as well. So be happy to answer any questions that you might have, and thank you for your time.